is, what is modular method? And I think we started on this a little bit early in the day where I said, if you ever find yourself struggling with writing a script, ask yourself, is it because this isn't actually supposed to be a script? Is it supposed to be a poem? Is it supposed to be a short story? Is it supposed to be a novel? Is it supposed to be a series of novels? Film is not the end-all be-all. I recently spoke to a Pacific Northwest filmmaker who wrote a book and has been actively turning it into a film or an episodic version of a film for what seems like the last decade of her life, and keeps waiting for Dios ex Hollywood to come down from on high and recognize her wonderment and scoop her up. And I'm kind of like, this looks beautiful, but there's no meat here. There's no meat here. And that's why Hollywood isn't swooping in and scooping you up, is that there's a lot of money going into this production, but there is no story. And maybe that's because this story is meant to be a novel. Not all novels are meant to be films. Not all films can support having even a novelization done of them. So first ask yourself, what is it? If you want to have an enormous amount of description, a massive cast, incredibly, and I'm talking beyond Hollywood budget, I'm talking like Lord of the Rings extreme epic budget for locations, then maybe you do actually want to write a novel, because then you don't have to worry about any of that. You can create everything and anything you want, and you know what? You may even know someone who publishes novels.
Maybe.
It's me, guys. I'm the person.
You baited her right into that. You made her say it.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good job.
Absolutely. I'm here to do my part.
Or, here's another question. Or is it a play? If you are writing your script and you find you just have an enormous amount of dialogue, like everybody, you know there's nothing wrong with that? It's called a stage play. And it is also its own beautiful thing in and of itself. And even though I don't have a theater division, I will willingly connect you with everyone in the theater community that I know. Because plays are a wonderful thing. I have professionally produced and had performed and traveled with it as it performed. 2 stage plays. I can be there with you. I can still be your friend. But if the dialogue is that extreme, that much dialogue, it's a play, it's not a film. What does a film need to have? What drives a film is the visuals, the images which speak volumes. Someone watching a film has a group of people, like an audience, watching a film has a collective intelligence that is higher than any of the single individuals watching. We have, as a country, but also on a global, an international community, we have a kind of visual intellect that we say, oh, it's raining. That means this. Oh, sad music. That's here. Oh, she's wringing her hands. Yeah. Oh, we're watching the feet slowly come down the stairs. That tells us those are visual tropes. And so oftentimes if I go through a script, I'll say to a writer, you know, you really don't have to have the character say this. It's obvious. Yep. We see that in the images we have on screen. Why did the Harry Potter books get made into films? Because Daniel Radcliffe is adorable. And he brought so much to that. And little Hermione and the little red-headed Ron boy. And like all of these wonderful little things. There were things they brought to, because not everyone liked J.K. Rowling's books. Not everyone thinks she's a great writer. I don't care whether or not you think J.K. Rowling's a good writer or not. She did something that needed to be done, and she apparently was the only one who could do it. Stephen King wasn't able to do it. Danielle Steele wasn't able to do it. Crichton wasn't able to do it. Crichton can do anything, but Grisham wasn't able to do it. J.K. Rowling broke that ceiling on word count, and thank God for all of us writers out there that write longer than 50,000 word novels. Thank you. But that's just me. I mean, I think there are some filmmakers who can do dialogue-heavy work, but in general, if you're turning something into the commercial market, you want to actually work with distributors. You're not doing something surrealist that you're only going to put in the festival circuit. I would say Yet images need to speak louder than your words. So what is modular method? What is it not? Modular method is a way of formatting your scripts. It doesn't really dictate your story. You can create something surreal, you can work with puppets, you can work with pets, you can do whatever you want there. The traditional method does not give you a lot of control as a writer. You're told don't give direction, don't put in blocking, don't put in motivation, a backstory. In modular method, everything goes on the page. Script comparisons. So this is when you guys do want to take out your script comparisons that I handed out earlier today. And for everyone watching the video, this exact same script comparison PDF is from a link in the description. So if you look at these, modular method is like a prose storyboard. So you've got your shot types in there, which of course we'll get to, shooting style, your techniques, everything is right in there. Again, the script comparisons that you have, this is the exact same scene, but the first page is a traditional script and the second 2 pages are modular method. So you also shoot differently than you do a traditional shoot, which makes your shoots faster. With a traditional scene, if you have 2 people talking, you shoot the entire scene from beginning to end focused on Christopher. Then the entire scene beginning to end focused on Bill. Then the entire scene beginning to end with both of them. And then your editor chops between them. We've all seen this.
Yes.
We've all everyone who's ever watched television or movies has seen a scene shot like that. That is the way things are shot. So even if these guys don't need any additional takes, no flubs happen, that's 3 times minimum. So not only, right? That's extreme. And it's artsy if we punch in on one of the men, gripping their cup or something like that. That's the cinematographer said, wait, I see something.
B-roll.
I see something. Let's get an extra shot. Well, there's always an extra shot. Until finally, there's 47, and you guys all know this is not an exaggeration. Anyone who's been on a traditional set, you got 47 shots where you need 3.
Yes.
And the actors have been sitting here the whole time. Now, if you're paid hourly, that's great. But if you're all micro budget and nobody's paid till back end, that's disastrous. Bill's now lost his day job. I'm now behind on every deadline that I have. And, Christopher's been fired from Uber. No one's fired from Uber. I mean, you have to abduct a child to get fired from Uber.
That's what I did.
They replace him with a drivable car, one of those self-driving cars. Okay, but with modular method, we look at the script and it's not, the scene isn't 2 men sit in a cafe, or 2 people sit in a cafe. The scene is, okay, shot 1, mid-shot, Christopher, boom, shot, done. Now if Christopher wants another take, or I as a director want another take, well of course you get another take. But then we're moving on. You are shooting what you are going to use. We have shot entire projects, and this isn't every time, but we've shot entire projects where at the end of the day, we have our footage. There's 40 shots in the project, let's say. We have literally 40 shots. Now, I always say to my actors, because I try to think of myself as a friendly director, if you want to do it again, you just tell me, and the answer is yes. Because often, I pride myself on being able to cast well. I cast when I know someone's wheelhouse, and I cast them in their wheelhouse. I broke that rule one time, and it was for Daryl Robert Small. I had other filmmakers tell me, don't cast him in a drama role. And that really bothered me. Because 1, I didn't know these other filmmakers. They were reaching out to me unsolicited. 2, they were in Seattle. 3, their studios were running in the red. 4,
he's amazing.
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you. But they only cast him in comedy. When they tried to cast him in something drama, he hadn't been able to do it. And I'm like, no, you as a director weren't able to get him there. So I cast him as the lead in a film called The Trees Have Names. He plays a grandpapa who is a serial killer who eats children.
Nice. I want that role.
And he was a police chief. There's nothing funny here. And actually the story is actually about the psychological breakdown of his granddaughter. And she's institutionalized and comes to realize during her time institutionalized that she knows who he really is. And breaks down further and having to rebuild herself back up. Da-da-da. That's the film. But you see, Daryl had the look, and I thought I could get him there. I'm not a great director. I didn't go to school to be a director. I just say to someone, this is what's happening. This is what you're feeling in this moment.
But wouldn't you say, unfortunately, there's a tendency of people that quote-unquote are directors, if they can't get it out of the actor, it's the actor's fault?
Absolutely. And I would say if you proudly wear the badge Modular Method Director, it is never the actor's fault.
Right.
They are there to bless you. Because you, yeah,
You have directors and you have actors directors.
Yeah.
yes, there we go.
Exactly.
That's one, I like that, Bill,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
So your shooting style absolutely changes. And if you're not going to be running your own camera, you need to have someone who, this I'm going to say very, very carefully. Your camera operator cannot control your set. Especially if they're not a writer, why should they have to take this course? I'm like, they don't. None of our distributors require that. They just don't. Just the writer. But if you have a camera operator who is not certified, who doesn't really understand what modular method is, they are going to push. They're going to give you pushback to do things in a different way. And that's when you wind up with turning in series to me that don't follow the script, that veer off in a creative look and feel that is not in your pro's storyboard. And then my distributors come to me and say, who did you sign? The camera operator or the writer-director? So I don't know what other way to say this other than to say, you have to be top dog. Now, I'm not saying you domineer over your actors, because again, be a actor's director. But you need to be the boss of your crew.
And that would be a meeting at the beginning. You just sit down and say,
Absolutely.
look,
Absolutely.
this is how it's going to go.
Yes, and like going back to our film anthology events, if there's a camera person you want to work with, do a film anthology event. We'll let them come and run camera for you. So then they can see how Brianne and I run camera and work as director and camera. You can then work with them and you can work out all the little kinks then. Because we, directors and writers that like to run their own camera, we let them come and do it all for the anthology events as well. So that's a way that you could use those to make sure all of those little wrinkles are ironed over. Okay, equipment, crew, budget. You can have tons of equipment, all kinds of different equipment. You can have a massive crew. You can have a huge budget, but you can have any budget and have a modular method project. A modular method project can be one of those projects that, oh, so glossy, looks like it's right out of Hollywood. Or it can look like, oh, it's the backyard. Your script does not change that. The look and feel does not change. What changes is the speed at which you are able to create the project and the fact that you as the writer stay in control. Okay, so I'm sorry, one more little thing. Table reads and auditions. Does modular method change the way you do table reads or auditions? No, you can still audition in every way that you like to audition, video submit, live, whatever you want. Usually what we suggest for auditions is instead of handing someone a scene from a modular method script, we suggest that you write them a little monologue or a little one-off exchange to just audition with. Because then it won't throw them, because most of these folks are going to be used to traditional style. And you can sometimes get a much better sense of someone if you write something specifically for an audition. I always do it that way. I love doing it that way. Table reads. Do you have to have a table read? Do you have to have any kind of rehearsal to do modular method? Well, if you educate your your actors about what modular method is and what the different scene types are, you shouldn't have to do rehearsals because you're going to be shooting shot to shot. So if you look at the modular method example in your packets, you'll see that the shots are numbered. So before shot 1, you put your actors in place, you give them some direction. Then record, and your camera person says, okay, we're framed, we're focused, and then as director, you say, action. They do scene 1, or shot 1. They do shot 1, whatever that is. And then the director says, okay, cut. Or what I like to say is, great, excellent, beautiful, God, it was gorgeous. I usually say something like that. I tend not to say cut. But at the minimum, you say, and cut. And then the camera operator turns off the camera. Okay. Now, I tend to also then remind my actors, okay, stick your spot, stay right where you are. If your hand was on the mug, keep your hand on the mug, because we're about to start the next shot. But the camera is off. So now let's say in the next shot, someone says something. So I'll say, okay, so Christopher, at action, you're gonna say, Bill, the deal went backward. What's that phrase? Sideways. And then Bill, you're gonna answer with, stop it, don't tell me that.
Stop it. Don't tell me.
Now, there you go. They may have dialogue in shot 3, but I don't give them their dialogue in shot 3 because we're only shooting shot 2. What does that allow your actors to do? It allows them to not have to be off book, which 1, not all actors can do. And 2, if Bill is doing one project with me for free, but he's doing a SAG project with Jody and Heidi, and he's getting paid $1,200 a day, and he's doing these both at the same time, he can't be off book for that one and off book for this one. I try to ask a little bit less of my actors so that they can do more.
You usually have the AD read
Yes.
before the shot, so
Yes.
that everything is laid out clear.
And that is nice. If you can have someone who can AD for you, it is nice that and they can even talk the actors through the basic blocking. So then the director is literally only just talking about motivation, intonation, things like that. Okay, so those things are the same. So you can absolutely do a table read, just skip over the camera directions. Don't have someone read the camera directions. Really move, you read a little bit of the description, have your actors read their dialogue. It'll move along very quickly. Actors like table reads, and then you can also have everyone together in person and they can get familiar with what it is to look at a modular method script. You can even show them an example of what it is to shoot and then turn it off. Shoot and then turn it off. If your actor starts going into the next shot, like, they just keep doing their dialogue for the whole scene, it's okay, just turn the camera off. Go, it's okay, that's the next shot.
So are you, normally you're shooting in one direction. And
Yes.
you're shooting in one direction because it's all lit for that. And then you move everything around and you shoot for, are you saying that you have it lit for both, so you pop back and forth, you're shooting him, then you shoot him, then you shoot?
Yes, that's exactly correct.
Okay.
So I light my scene and then move within my scene. Yes, Mark?
Okay, so let's say you've got a scene and it's gonna be a little bit of a wide shot, so you got the 2 actors there, or your actor. And you just shoot it straight on and it's fine. But you're kind of saying you still need to do the 2 other one, in other words, you're still looking for 3 shots from 3 different angles?
No,
No.
absolutely not.
No.
No,
Okay.
absolutely not. It is completely up to you. If you
Okay.
want to shoot your people in wide, that's your shot. I'm going to shoot my people in wide and they're going to talk.
That's what I mean, okay.
Totally fine. You, as the writer, you control how many shots you need. Some people...
So if you were to shoot that, you wouldn't go back and do his lines again. You would move on to the next lines in the script for the next
Absolutely.
shot.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
You got it. No, yes, please, you guys, always. Yes.
What if you have an epiphany in the middle of shooting and you go, this has to be this way now?
Yes, I love this question. Okay, so what I call that is environmental factors.
Yeah.
I tried to make it fancy. And actually, I had to deal with that very early on with the with the distributors. I said, what if I'm in this location? Now, I always scout my location. I want to physically go to my location before I even write a script based on the location, because I like to block my stuff. What blocking means is how your actors are going to move. What if, though, I discover something new about a location, I'm like, I have to have that shot. What I do then is I write the shot in modular method format on my shooting script, the script I'm working on. Because as you guys have probably guessed this, as you're working with modular method, when you get a shot, you check it right by the number. So, and that script, you know how on traditional sets everybody and their brother has a script?
Right.
On modular method, either your director or if you're lucky enough to have an AD with you, your AD has the script, and that is like your master script. Nobody's lines are highlighted. You know how many scripts I throw away from sets, and I'm like, oh, this is so-and-so's. You write in the new shot in modular method on your script. And then what I have filmmakers do is I just have them go click at the end of the project and take a picture of that page, and I just send that, and I say, there it is. That's totally allowed.
Okay.
It's totally allowed.
All right, so if your shot falls, say, between shot 3 and shot 4, where you have that epiphany,
Yeah.
would you label it shot 3.5?
Okay, that's another good question. I love this question. What I do, and this had to become a rule, is it's like, let's say it's 12. I change shot 12 to 12A, and then I have 12B,
Okay.
12C, 12D. I think I've gotten up to like F.
Wow.
Because I was just like, I love this please. I want to do some underwater. And Brienne's like, your pickup shot is some underwater shots? I'm like, yes, get in there, because I don't swim. She's like, all right, okay, so let's see. Are we rolling? I don't know if we're rolling.
So that's also where it brings in the, that was kind of along the lines of a question I had, like with B-roll and with other stuff. It's like if you have that epiphany and you see something and you do it, then you just.
But
add it.
at that point, the B-roll actually
It's
isn't
not
B-roll, it
necessary.
becomes a shot.
Right.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because
That's what I was
people say,
trying
well,
to
say.
we were gonna run 2 cameras, and, because, then, like, my second camera might pick up something that my first camera doesn't, and I'm like, okay, that you can't do. Because that's traditional. You're running 2 cameras and getting what you get. And they're like, well, we could miss things. And I'm like, okay, the point is that as the writer, you know your location well enough that, again, except on these rare occasions when it's like inspiration strikes, you know what you're shooting.
Yeah.
Craft the story, create the story you wrote. But yes, you are allowed sparks of inspiration.
Shot 5, close-up of hand opening door.
Right, yeah, and
That's-
let's say you get there, and at first it was just gonna be a mid-shot, Bill opens door, but when you get to the location, because you didn't scout this location, it's just
Beautiful doorknob.
Right, exactly. It's got these like crystal doorknobs. And I feel in Lee's mind, every sentence I say, she's like, I could have said that in 3 words.
No!
I feel like that's it. It's got crystal doorknobs, or it's got like the skeleton key thingamagurgers like that. You know darn well you're gonna do mid-shot, Bill approaches door, close up, because you're just like, oh, it's really pretty. I mean, and that's what films are, really pretty.
But it still boils down to the idea of you keep it simple, stupid whenever possible.
Yes, absolutely.
It sounds like what you're saying is the distributor, the pitch is done by sending a script to them. And they look at the script and they go, yeah, okay, I want it.
Yes.
And then you send them the finished product and they say, okay, the shot, good. Wait a minute, there's there's a crystal doorknob shot in here that's not here.
But
Right.
That's why you take the picture.
Why would that matter to them if it looks good?
Because now you're turning in a story that's paced differently than what they've greenlit.
Oh.
It's all about pacing. So that's why I say when inspiration strikes, I've added shots, and I take my photo, and then one time I just honestly forgot to send in my updated PDF. Because I just put those photos into the PDF. And I do that for you guys, it's not a big deal. And I forgot to send the update, and none of the distributors said anything. And I'm like, oh, I had like 9 extra shots. They didn't say anything because they're good shots, and they were well placed. It didn't, because like obviously we all know we wouldn't really cut Bill just opening a door into 2 shots.
Right.
And they would say, why did you do that? I go, well, the pretty crystal doorknob. They're like, okay, yeah, well, please don't do that in the future, because we just wanted Bill to get in the room. Could you just freaking let him get in the room, please? So if you've created a moment, even if you've added a whole scene. Now with Ghost Noir, after editing was done, because it was my first feature, it was short. It was too short. It needed 12 extra minutes. And I'm like, wow.
That's an eternity.
12 minutes? And I stressed until finally I took the script as I had it, slapped it down in front of Brienne, and I said, what do you want to know more? Because I've told my story. But what do you want to know more? And she's like, I've already read it. This. I'm like, okay, 5 scenes, good. Wrote those, and then we got our 12 minutes. But, so if you're adding minutes, but those minutes are dynamic, I can say from experience, the distributors just gloss right over it. But they have to really make sense.
So you send them in the PDF of an updated thing, and then
Yeah.
you have to wait for them to green light it back to you?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
The only check, they do 2 checks. 1, I send them the pitch, your proof of concept, your script. After that, there is nothing they can say to cancel your project. There's nothing they can say to take away your premiere. There's nothing they can say to take away your commercial release and your international streaming. Those things are locked in. Thank you, Jennifer. You're really nice.
Thank you, Mr. Markel.
Carry on, all hands. What they can do is they can say we don't want the second season, if it's a series. They can say, you...
Exactly.
Every time.
Every time.
We don't want the second season.
They can say they don't want your second season, and they can say, Jennifer, you Jennifer will not have our support in terms of marketing money if you do tie-in products, a graphic novel, a card game, or a novelization. Now, that kills me because if it's like if you're an author.
Yeah.
Yes, you make money as an author, royalties of books and ebooks. I'm trying to speak here, but
Get a picture of Colonel Sanders at Worst Weekend.
There you go.
yes. But a massive amount of your money comes from sales of your
Right.
audiobook. Audio right now is hot.